Good morning, everyone. Today is day 6 of my reading 7 books in 7 days challenge. I have been doing this challenge this is my 6th year doing it, and I have 6 other videos from this year. I have my TBR and my days 1 through 5 vlogs, so they're all in the description box down below if you want to catch up or anything. But today is Sunday, so my family and I are probably going to go somewhere at some point today, maybe go out for lunch or something. So it's going to be like a little bit, like I'm going to have some things that I'm doing outside of the house today, but I still think I'll be able to read a whole book today. The book that I want to read today is The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Benedict, because one, it's a really short book. I think it's like not even 300 pages, and I'm in the mood for a mystery today. So I think that would be a good one to read. It's going to be pretty fast-paced, I'm assuming, because it's a mystery and it's also pretty short, so that's a good combo for me. But I did get a little bit of a later start to the day. It's already like 9 o'clock. I did not edit my video last night. I just really did not feel like it, so I'm going to edit it after I have my coffee and everything. But I'm going to go downstairs and, have some coffee, as per usual. I know, what is new with these vlogs? So I'm gonna do that and get dressed, make my bed, import my footage, and edit it, upload, blah blah blah. All that fun stuff, and I'll let you know either when I have another update or when I have read some of The Mystery of Mrs. Christie, and I'll let you know how it's going so far. It has been quite a while since I actually spoke with you. I think the first clip of this vlog was, I did it at like 9 o'clock when I woke up. It is already close to 1, but I was doing, I had to edit my video and upload and everything. It's up on my channel now, but I also wanted to get some work done for a class that I'm taking in my senior year, so I wanted to do it, before school started, obviously. And I did read the first, I'm on page 103 of The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Benedict. I'm definitely enjoying this book so far. I originally thought that this book would be from the perspective of Agatha Christie when she went missing and delve into the time where she disappeared, but it's actually not. There are 2 separate timelines. One takes place in the 1910s, and I assume it'll go into the 1920s, and it is in Agatha's perspective, and it's when she met her husband Archibald, and all of this stuff when she was writing her first novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles. And then the second perspective it's the third-person perspective of her husband, Archibald, and it starts on the first day that she went missing. So we'll switch. It'll be the manuscript, which is in the past, from Agatha's first-person POV, and then we'll go into, like, day 1 after the disappearance, day 2, and it's from Archie's perspective. So I do like the 2 timelines. I do think it would be pretty interesting to see it from Agatha's point of view, like, during the time that she was missing, but I guess Benedict didn't want to go into, like, that, because it would have been a lot of it wouldn't have been, like, truthful, because she would have been hypothesizing what happened. I don't know if we're going to figure out what happened by the end, but I feel like this is one of those books that you will enjoy a lot more when the 2 storylines end up converging, and I'm excited for that, because so far it's a little bit slow. I think it's not boring per se, but it is just, setting things up. And there's not a lot of forward movement, especially in Archie's perspective. Like, in Agatha's perspective, we get to see, her meeting her husband and her writing her first novel, and obviously there's all the stuff with World War I, because she was a nurse in World War I, and her husband also fought in the war for the first couple of years. But in Archie's perspective, we're kind of just, he's kind of just lamenting, and he's talking to the detectives and all this stuff, and Rosalind, which is his and Agatha's daughter, and it's all this stuff. I'm sure it'll get a lot better as the story progresses, and again, I don't want to be too hard on the book until I finish it, because I feel like, again, once the past and present storylines converge, and once we maybe figure out what actually happened, it'll be a lot more interesting, and it'll kind of come full circle, and the book will have more meaning, I guess. But I still think it's a really interesting concept, and I like the way it's being approached, because I do think that my initial thoughts as to how this book would go would be a little bit difficult to pull off. So I like that Marie Benedict isn't like biting off more than she can chew or doing something that would be really difficult. I like that she's sticking to, you know, a different angle of the story, which I'm really liking so far. So we'll see how it continues. I really like Marie Benedict's writing. I think the descriptions are really great, and I love, you know, all the, you know, the English setting and all that sort of stuff, so I'm definitely enjoying that aspect of the story as well. Right now, though, my family and I are going to go eat lunch. We're going to go to the mall and get lunch there. It's this really nice restaurant in the mall, and I always get salmon tacos there in case you were curious. And we are gonna maybe do some shopping. I don't know. The book is pretty short. It's only 262 pages, so much shorter than I originally thought. So I could probably get it done in like 2 more sittings, so I'm not too nervous about, or, you know, caught up with reading right now. So yeah, I think it'll be easy to get done. But I definitely, since it's Sunday, I do want to do some other things and get out of the house a little bit. I don't know if I'm gonna do any more work today. I don't know. I always feel guilty when I'm not doing work, because, like, I feel like there's always something that I can do, and when there's an unfinished assignment hanging over me, I always feel really guilty that I'm not spending every second of my waking hours doing it. But I'm gonna try to get over that, and just get it, make sure it's done before the deadline. So, yeah. I'm gonna go and get ready for lunch, and I'll see you afterwards. I feel like this is gonna be the shortest vlog in the history of my reading vlogs, because it's already like 6 o'clock, and I'm close to page 200 of The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. I have some beef with this book. So, basically, this might have some spoilers in it, but it's honestly not spoilery, because it's just, like, history. Like, this is a true story-ish. Like, I mean, you know, it's obviously embellished and fictionalized, but, you know, it's, like, it's based on real history. So, okay, basically, as I said, there are 2 concurrent timelines. There is the first-person perspective of Agatha, and it's titled The Manuscript, and we start in 1912, and at the point that I'm at in this book, we are, you know, in, like, October of 1926, and 1926 was the year she disappeared. She disappeared in December. So we're getting close to the timeline that Archie's story is taking place. So Archie is obviously her husband, Archibald, and his storyline is in the 3rd person, but it follows him. It starts on the first day of Agatha's disappearance, and, you know, there are chapters, and, you know, there are a couple of chapters dedicated to the first day after her disappearance, and then the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. I forget what we're on now. I'm on chapter 36. It's day 8 after the disappearance, and I think she was gone for 9 or 10 or 11 days, so we're almost at the end of that also. I'm almost at the end of the book. There's only maybe 65 pages left. So the thing is, in the last chapter that I just read from Agatha's perspective, we just got to, like, the inciting incident, which is, like, weird structurally. I don't hate this book at all, and I know it sounds like I'm ready to give it, like, 2 stars or anything. I'm sure this is still going to get 3.5, 3.75 out of 5 stars, but I'm just complaining for a second, because the structure of this book is so weird, and I've never read anything like it, but we literally just got to the inciting incident. Some could argue that the inciting incident is when she disappeared in the first chapter or whatever, but this is my argument. We just got to the part where Archie reveals to Agatha that he's been having an affair with Nancy, who's, like, his secretary or something, whatever. He works with her, and that is what many believe is the reason for Agatha, you know, up and leaving. Also, you know, that's in, not conjunction, in confluence, or it's a confluence of that and her mother's death. So, those 2 things are what people believe made Agatha yeet. But we just got to that part in the book, so if this is truly the mystery of Mrs. Christie, and it's, like, about her disappearing and leaving, then didn't we just get to, like, the beginning of the story? But it's almost done. Like, I don't know if I'm articulating this well, but this is just kind of weird to me, because so far there has literally been 0 forward momentum in the book, because we'd be in Agatha's perspective, and she'd be like, yeah, I just got married to Archie. My mom is hanging out with my mom. I just have my daughter. My sister's really annoying. I just wrote this book. And while that is still enjoyable, and while I like this book for what it is, I don't understand the structure of it, or like the way that it was written, if that makes any sense. And then in Archie's perspective, he's kind of just conversing with these detectives, but we know, as anyone who's been, like, anyone who knows Agatha Christie knows he didn't kill her, because she shows up. She was only gone for, like, 10 or 11 days. So we know for a fact that he did not kill his wife, because Agatha Christie lived a very long life after her divorce from Archibald. So, like, it doesn't really make any sense why we've spent all this time on it feels like we're just treading water. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like if you were to bring a Peloton outside expecting to go on a bike ride when it's, like, a stationary bike. Like, am I making sense? Like, I feel like we're just, like, this was all just set up. Like, this all could have been a prologue, but we're already, like, there's only 60-something pages left, so I don't get it. Like, genuinely, we've learned zero in Archie's perspective. Like, it's a little bit mysterious, and yeah, I like the vibes and the atmosphere and whatever, and the writing is really great, and, like, the story is interesting, but I just don't understand from a structural point of view, and, like, I don't understand why this was chosen, why this book was chosen, why it was chosen to write this book this way. So, I do have some gripes with this book, but oddly, I don't, like, hate it at all. Like, I think objectively, it's weird and, like, oddly structured and not that, like, it didn't feel like it was thought out that well, or I don't know. But subjectively, I still enjoy the story. So, I don't know. But, I feel like now it's going to get a lot more interesting because the storylines are coming together, so we're going to see, the true or, Marie Benedict's fictionalized, embellished version of why Agatha actually disappeared, and then all the fallout with that. I don't know. I feel like these last 65 pages can be really interesting and could save this book for me. I don't mean, like, saving, because it's already, like, I'd probably, if the book ended here, I'd still probably give it 3-star, like, somewhere in the 3-star range. But I don't know. I'm having the hardest time articulating my thoughts, but I hope this 6-minute explanation can kind of make you see where I'm coming from. I don't know, once I finish this book, I'll definitely have to read some reviews to see if I'm, like, the only one who thinks this, but I've literally never read a book where the inciting incident happens on page 195 out of 262. I can't do that math in my head, but I have to be, like, 80% of the way through the book? I could totally be wrong about that math, but I just kind of did it in my head a little bit. But I don't know. So we'll see what happens with the end of this book. I'm not really going to think about it until I finish it later. But I actually have zero idea what time it is. It's probably 6-something. But I might end up going with my dad to the car wash to get my car washed. And I know, revolutionary. What else do you do at the car wash? So I might do that so I can have it, clean. And I'm going to probably clean out the center console and stuff, because my sister and I were sharing this car for, like, ever since I got my license, but she moved out, so it's, like, kind of mine for now, because, so yeah, so I have to move all her stuff out of the car and just clean it up a little bit. So that's what I'm gonna do. I might go on a little walk, because it's definitely cooler today than it was yesterday. Yesterday it was gross and humid, and I felt like passing out, but today it seems like it's not as bad. So maybe I'll take you with me on my walk, maybe I'll take you to the car wash, we shall see. But yeah, sorry for this really long clip and my rant or whatever on the Mr. and Mrs. Christie, but I'm super interested to see how the book finishes, and I'll let you know once I'm done, and I'll give my final thoughts. So it is about 9:40, and I just finished The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict, and I actually really enjoyed this book. I don't know what I'm going to rate it yet. Probably either a 3.75 or a 4 stars. I'll insert something right here to tell you what I end up deciding. But I do think that those last 65 or so pages really made the rest of the book make a lot of sense. I know I was kind of like, I mean, I wasn't like, I guess I was ranting, but I wasn't like, I was just confused at the time, but I think these last 65 pages definitely made the story a lot more interesting, and they kind of brought everything around, and I really liked how the two perspectives intertwined, and I really liked the way that Marie Benedict explained away these 11 days that Agatha Christie had gone missing, and I think that it's actually a really sound theory. I think that, I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, but I read the author's note as well, and I think it's a really good theory, and I honestly think that it probably could have happened. I don't know if Marie Benedict has, like, a contact in the Christie estate, but I don't know. I feel like this would be a really interesting explanation. I don't know if we're ever going to find out, which I think is interesting. It's kind of frustrating, but, you know, Agatha Christie never spoke about this disappearance. She didn't even mention it in her autobiography. She completely skipped over that period in her life. Granted, it was a very short period. I don't know how old she was when she died. I believe she was in her 70s or 80s. She was born in the 1890s and she died in the 1970s. So she was like in her 80s, I think. I can't remember what year exactly she was born and what year exactly that she died. But, you know, she was a pretty old woman, and this was just 11 days of her life, so I understand that it's a pretty small period of time in, you know, her biography, but I think it's interesting, the approach that this book takes, and I think, again, it makes a lot more sense, the reasons why Marie Benedict chose to write this book this way, and I really like, you know, we find out the reason why the chapters from Agatha's perspective are called the manuscript. We figure out, you know, there's all this mysterious stuff, and I really, really like that. So I definitely had a feeling when I was talking in that last clip that these last 65 pages could be like really revolutionary and make the whole book it could come around full circle and could make everything make a lot more sense and be a lot more satisfying, and it definitely accomplished that. So I'm not really that mad at this book anymore, and I think that the way it was structured was actually really, really smart, and I think it was interesting. And Marie Benedict is a smart lady. I think it says that, you know, on the About the Author page, it says she graduated magna cum laude from Boston College with a focus on history, and cum laude from Boston University School of Law. So, she's a smart gal, and I think that definitely comes through in this book. I think it's really interesting. And again, I think her theory behind Agatha Christie's reason for disappearing and all of the stuff that went into that is an interesting approach and a fascinating take. So yeah, I also really, really like this cover. I think it's super interesting how you don't really see her eyes. I think that's an interesting thing, and you know, like the hairdo and everything, and then you see like the coat of the time, and then these like leaves. I don't know what these leaves are. I don't know why they chose pink, but I think it's an interesting cover. And also, I got the hardcover, so the end pages are like newspaper clippings, which I think is really cool. And I do think that the theory that Marie Benedict posed in this book does make it seem like a little less mysterious and a little less interesting, this particular period of Agatha Christie's life. So I like to think that it could be something really dramatic and crazy, but I do think that the idea in here that Marie Benedict had is probably the most realistic and likely, you know, theory, I guess. So yes, I definitely enjoyed this book. Probably, I don't know, as I said, 3.75 or 4. You can check on my good, or I put it in the video, so it doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, definitely really enjoyed this book. Solid book for today, and it's really, really short. It's only 262 pages, but then also there are a bunch of blank pages throughout the book because all the chapters start on the right-hand side. So, you know, there are some chapters, I can't even find an example now, of course. There are some chapters like this where it will end on the left side and then it just continues on the right, but then there are other chapters where it will end the page before, so then the page on the left is completely blank. So it's probably, in actuality, only like 220, 230 pages, if that. So, quick read, good mystery. I don't know if I'd call it a mystery. Historical fiction? Who knows? But I'm definitely excited to pick up more Brigid Benedict's books, because I think they all have really interesting concepts, and this one, I really loved her writing, so I think this was a good, this is propelling me into picking up some of her other works. But that is it for this day 6 vlog. I can't believe we've only one day left, but I hope you've been enjoying this. I hope you've been enjoying these vlogs so far. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. So that is it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. All my social media links are in the description box below. And I will see you tomorrow for day 7, the last day. Bye!